You can move this. Okay, cool. Sweet. We're not playing. Oh, you're fine. Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. Okay, oh, sorry. Yeah, so long as the mics work, we're good. Yeah, feel free to adjust the height to whatever you need. I'm worried about my part. I'll see. It's all good. Yeah, I think we're ready. Let's do it. Also, are we streaming already? Everything's we're live. We're good to go. Awesome. Sweet. Thank you guys for coming. Thanks for bearing with us. We had some technical difficulties at the beginning, but hopefully everything's squared away. Yeah, great turnout. Oh, sorry, I thought you were raising your hand. But feel free to raise your hand at any point and ask questions. We'll get things started. Thank you guys for coming again. We're going to go over how to build NFTs, specifically how to build NFTs with Alchemy. That's a high-level overview of this presentation. We'll cover three things. First, we'll start with an overview of what is Alchemy. Then we'll kind of go into what is an NFT, although I'm sure most of you know what an NFT is. I'll sort of keep it high level. Then we'll jump into what is Alchemy's NFT API. So we'll kind of merge the two of them. And lastly, we'll see how to use Alchemy's NFT API, how to leverage that to build things. Before I do that, I kind of want to take a pulse of the room. How many of you guys here are builders? Would you consider yourself devs? Okay, cool. How many of you guys are just investors interested in the space? Nice. Any other categories I missed? Seems like a lot of you guys are builders, so I'll keep it at the builder level. Let's jump straight into things. Before we do that, I'll give a brief intro. My name's Omar. I'm an engineer here at Alchemy. We've got Alon.
Hi, I'm Albert.
I'm Kunal, also an engineer at Alchemy. Isaac in Denver with Alon and Albert.
Sweet. Cool, so let's jump into it. What is Alchemy? At our core, our mission is to bring blockchain to 1 billion people. And how do we do that? We do that with your guys' help. You guys are the builders enabling people to adopt crypto, to build with crypto, to engage with crypto. And so that's exactly what we're doing here. How do we do that more concretely? So this is sort of my favorite product that we offer. It's the Build Suite. It's where builders sort of go into our dashboard and play with our tools, figure out how is their API performing, how are their transactions performing. You can sort of compose requests and play around, with the tools that we have to sort of debug your application in real time. I find this build tool most helpful as a developer. We also have tools for non-developers and developers alike, things like monitors. So you can monitor the health of your application, see where your users are coming from, draw analytics from that, and kind of derive conclusions and see where you want to target your users. We also have, apart from allowing access to the blockchain, we have enhanced APIs built on top of the blockchain. So one of those is Notify. So notifications. A lot of you are familiar with the classic Web 2 sort of, getting a push notification on your iPhone. Enabling that on the blockchain is somewhat difficult. So we make that really easy. You can get a notification when a transaction occurs, when gas prices go up, when a suite of things happen. So definitely recommend you check out our Notify integration if you're curious about getting notifications on blockchain events. It's really helpful, and it's something that I've enjoyed playing around with. Lastly, and where we'll spend most of our time, is our enhanced API suite. So this is really where our developers can leverage the blockchain's interface in a more powerful way. So you can access things like the full blockchain transaction history, all the archival data. The interface that the blockchain currently provides makes that pretty difficult, but we make it sort of one API, one click. There are also things like token APIs, which allow you to access information on ERC20 tokens, things like NFTs, ERC721s, ERC1155s. We'll jump into that. I'll leave that a little bit for later. We also have smart WebSockets. So I definitely recommend you guys check out our Alchemy Web3 integration if you're playing around with Web3. It has nice things out of the box like retry logic, exponential backoff, all of these different things as developers that you might find helpful. Yeah, at our core, we're the leading blockchain developer. So we power a lot of players in the space. We're powering all major NFT platforms from OpenSea to Maker's Place, Axie Infinity, Nifty Gateway, Dapper. If you've played around with an NFT, we probably power them. So a lot of NFT use cases are built on top of our platform, and we're happy to dive into how that's done and dig into the weeds of that a little bit later. We also have non-NFT platforms building on top of us. DeFi protocols like Maker, Yearn, the Graph is built on top of us. Aave, all of these people are powered by Alchemy. All of these great projects doing great things for the space. So if you're looking to build, would definitely recommend integrating with Alchemy. Oh, that was a little out of order. Sorry about that. Sweet. So now that you know a little bit about Alchemy, we're going to jump into what is an NFT. Although most of you guys know this, so I'll keep it brief, and you know we'll save more time for the demo. So at a high level, we talked a little bit about standards developed on the Ethereum blockchain. There are 3 common standards that most developers are familiar with. The ERC20 standard, which is known as a fungible standard. So this is where everything looks the same, right? You can sort of think of it as a token that's transferable, and you can't really distinguish them from each other. And then there's the ERC721 standard, which is a non-fungible token. This is where NFTs live. NFT stands for non-fungible token. These are unique tokens that have attributes and values associated with them that make them distinguishable from each other. There's also ERC1155, which is sort of a hybrid model between fungible and non-fungible tokens. They sometimes refer to them as semi-fungible tokens, but we often see NFTs as ERC115 tokens as well. Before these standards were developed, though, people were already building, before this specification was established, which we'll jump into a little later, people were already building NFTs. In fact, the first NFT project on the space, CryptoPunks, was developed on Alchemy by Larva Labs. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with CryptoPunks. So they actually didn't follow the standard initially, but they helped shape and pave the way forward to the ERC721 standard. There's also oh, that is out of order. That's fine. So CryptoKitties is also another early adopter of the NFT standard, the ERC721 standard. If you guys are developing an NFT or sort of getting into it, would definitely recommend you guys follow either the ERC721 standard or the ERC1155 standard. This really helps you get integrated into existing platforms like OpenSea. It makes it really easy to just plug and play with a lot of NFTs. These standards are really, really important to follow as developers. It makes it easy to sort of play around with your NFT and get integrated with a lot of existing things in the space. So the Bored Ape Yacht Club was one of these. If you guys are, I'm sure you guys are familiar. Some of you guys probably have profile pictures like this on your Twitter. There it is, CryptoKitty. Sorry, that was supposed to come first. Cool. And then there was Loot, which also shows the use cases of NFTs and the community that can be built around NFTs. It's not just this non-fungible token that people trade. You can build on top of it. And there were so many creative people in the space building on top of Loot. This is one of my favorite projects that came out, and I was really excited about. So now that you know a little bit about what Alchemy is and what an NFT is, we're going to jump into what Alchemy's NFT API is and what that can enable you to do as a developer. Sweet. So I won't go into too much detail here, but before Alchemy's NFT API, there was a lot of things you had to do as a developer to access NFT information. This diagram, I'll sort of keep it high level, but if you're not familiar with the way the blockchain works, there are sort of blocks that come block by block. They contain transactions, and those transactions contain interactions with smart contracts. And those smart contracts can sometimes be NFTs. So you would have to sort of go block by block and look at these contracts and see, oh, was it an NFT? And if it was an NFT, you'd probably have to index it in some sort of database. You'd have to have some canonicalization service to make sure you are safe against reorganizations. And then once you had all of that, you'd have to make sure that it was performant and scalable, right? So that you can actually serve out these requests to your users. That's a headache. I won't go into any more details of that. If you're curious about that, would love to talk more about it. But we make it super simple now. Imagine this stack, if you had to build this stack for multiple chains. That's what we offer. We also offer a multi-chain NFT API. What this means is that whole stack that we developed, we abstracted it away to be plug and play with Ethereum, Optimism, Polygon, Flow, and all the different chains we support. So if you're building multi-chain, this is also a great tool to use. Sweet. Now we're going to dive into a little bit of the nitty-gritty of what is the API that we expose and how can you leverage it. So at a high level, NFTs have metadata associated with them. This is what gives them uniqueness. This is sort of the qualities and attributes that are associated with them. I'll give a quick demo here if this link will work. If not, we can skip it. Yeah, I don't think this is going to play nicely. Uh-oh. Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. What is going on? Whoops. Okay, we will save that for the end, where I'll sort of dive into our Composer, which is a tool we have for developers that kind of allows you to play with our API and integrate with it before you actually start building code. So you can get a sense of what are the queries I can make and what is the data I can get back for those queries. Sorry, let me just get back on track here. Sweet. Yeah, like we mentioned, there are attributes associated with NFTs, things like hair color or type. There are also things like owners and creators. And what our metadata endpoint allows you to do is specify a contract address and a token ID, aka the unique identifier for an NFT, and get all of the metadata associated with that. This includes IPFS link, Arweave links, anything that allows you to render the image. We also abstract those away to make you, so that you can just render an image really quickly. We'll actually go through a demo to show you how to do that. So I'll leave it at that. I was hoping to go into a little more detail with the demo, but we'll leave that for the end. And of course, one thing you might want to be able to know, aside from how the NFT looks and the attributes associated with it, is who the heck owns it. So this question is actually another question that's difficult to answer with the blockchain, and we make it as simple as one line of code, one click. You can specify who you care about in terms of the owner, and we'll give you all the NFTs associated with that owner. So if you have, for example, a crypto address like 0xROM, who's one of our developers, you can sort of see, all the crypto NFTs associated with this user. Aside from that, we talked a little bit about our NFT, our Notify suite, which allows you to get real-time updates on the blockchain. This can be really helpful when you're developing a sort of seamless user experience where people can get real-time updates on when they transfer their NFTs, when they get a new NFT, when their NFT might change, for example. A lot of people are doing cool things with sort of generative NFTs and NFTs that change over time. So this is a really cool way to get integrated with getting real-time updates on the state of your NFT and the NFTs of your users, depending on the use case that you're building. Sweet. So now that you've got a little bit of, what our NFT API allows you to do, we're going to jump into how our users have used that in their platforms and how you might be able to use that as a developer. Sweet. So one of our biggest users is OpenSea. So they're an NFT marketplace, and you guys can build your NFT marketplace as well with literally 2 lines of code, 2 different API calls. You can get things like who are the owners of this NFT, the attributes associated with this NFT, and we'll kind of go through and walk through an example of how to make this nice UI. So an NFT marketplace is a great example of something you might be able to build. Another example is NFT games on chain. So you might not be too interested in the trading portion, and maybe you're more into the gaming world. This kind of allows you to build games on chain, visit the avatars, access the avatars, show those to your users as they change, as they go through the game. Crypto Raiders is a classic example of that that's also built on us. There's also NFT ownership verification. We've seen a lot of cool things in the space with this lately. We've seen things like, Discord access based on whether or not you own an NFT, and other sort of, ownership verifications to access different platforms or to show off your NFT and so on. So this is a great way to sort of verify ownership in your UI, depending on, what your product is and what your use case is. And a fourth one is sort of just an NFT gallery. We've seen a lot of people who are in it more for the art. And if you want to sort of display your NFT and be able to browse those and sort of create a boutique gallery, you can also do this. I believe this is an image of gallery.io, which is also built. Sweet. I'll leave it at that. Since you guys are developers, you probably don't want to hear me talk too much. You want to see us get into code. So without further ado, we'll have Kunal and Isaac jump into the coding section. Hopefully the internet will play nicely with us and we can get a live demo going.
That's another slide, right? It's another one, right? I'm gonna start from the beginning. It's not.
It should be pretty bare bones.
I'll let you decide which one.
Also, as we get this set up, is there any questions? You know, we numbered a lot. We can also save those for the end.
That's pretty much the one.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, it's loading. There we go. Okay, slideshow.
Yeah. Who's trying? Good job.
All right, we're getting there. Okay, cool. I just wanted to step in. Hi, once again, I'm Albert, developer advocate. And I just wanted to shout out this reward for thanking you guys, appreciating you for coming out and checking out the NFT API and building with us. Since it is an NFT API workshop, we're going to be giving away some NFTs. So on the left here, this is actually a project that I had worked on for fun, just to learn about the NFT ecosystem. So I'll be giving away some of those completely for free. And then that one, a couple of random winners will be picked. The one on the right, every single one of you can get. So stick around to the end. I'll basically give instructions for how to claim these NFTs. So yeah, I'll leave it to Isaac and Kunal to walk through the coding portion.
Okay, so awesome, Omar, Albert, thanks for giving us that introduction to the NFT API. We're gonna get our hands a little bit dirty and build with it. If you have your laptops here today, you can take it out. If you don't want to, that's okay too. I know some of you guys don't necessarily want to get into the weeds of the code, and so we'll have repos and stuff ready for you guys to build later in the week or just later on as you guys get building that way. So you can go either tinyurl.com/Alchemy NFT API or scan it with your QR code. Either one works. We'll leave it up for just a little bit. tinyurl.com/Alchemy NFT API. Awesome. Looks like everyone generally has things ready to go. So I think we just want to give a little bit more context on what this specific repo and this project is designed to show off and to sort of let you guys explore. So we're building an NFT gallery explorer that's querying and serving up NFTs across Ethereum and Polygon networks. It's also generally just to show you how to search for and filter NFTs by address. It natively sort of supports ERC 721 and 1155 standards. So, that's not a problem. But I think, what is maybe the most interesting part of this demonstration is the ability to serve up the metadata. So everything from, the media links to attributes to your IPFS links, all of those things, that's something we serve up, and you can display them in interesting ways. And this is going to be one way that we sort of show it off. Other note here, so this is primarily built with JavaScript. It's pretty front end heavy. We find that a lot of our users tend to use NFTs for front end purposes. It makes sense. But the same API works for more back end sort of analytics type scenarios. So, if that's something you're excited about, we're more than happy to talk about those cases afterwards as well. Okay, awesome. So as with most projects, there's always dependencies. I know we love dependencies. So, for some of you guys, this might be a breeze. For others, there may be some problems with your environment. So if there is a problem, just raise your hand or something, and one of the funny looking dressed people will come to you. And so we'll take care of that. So first things first, our repo requires a slightly updated version of Node.js. So just make sure you're updated there. Run node -v and just check your version. If you don't have it downloaded, then you should download it. Yep. Other thing, we suggest that you do have an in-browser extension for MetaMask and/or Wallet Connect. That's part of our demonstration. It's sort of powerful to sort of go through what your user would be using. And so we want that to be part of the experience here. Awesome. Okay, so go ahead and git clone the repo. Shouldn't take long if the internet's working. So you guys may have done this. It looks like everyone has. I'm just going to skip right ahead. So we're going to install dependencies next. We've packaged them nicely for you. Hopefully everything is already ready to go. So just cd into your into the folder. And so in this case, it's Build Your NFT Explorer walkthrough, npm or yarn install, depending on your flavor. This might actually take a little bit longer. It took me a little while, and I had really good internet, so it might take a little longer. Okay, I'm going to assume everything's good, or maybe you'll catch up as we go along here. Next thing, we're going to address environment variables. In this case, our environment variables will be corresponding to the sort of respective Alchemy multi-chain endpoint URL. So in this case, we have a mainnet Ethereum URL, we have a Polygon mainnet URL, and then we have a Polygon's Mumbai testnet. And so, one thing that we wanted to sort of, as a disclaimer, I guess, is that, this repo is not necessarily meant for full production. It's really just a test, a quick prototype. So, if you were deploying something like this in real life, we suggest that you keep your keys in a secure backend and then make queries that way. So this is just for simplicity. Happy to talk about that afterwards, and we can give you some guidance there as well. Awesome. So in terms of actually going through and creating your .env file, if you don't know, all you're going to be doing is navigating to your root directory. So in this case, it's Build Your NFT Explorer walkthrough. You're going to create a file. You're going to name it .env. And then you're going to go back to the GitHub page and then copy those 3 lines of environment variables. And then you're going to plop them right there. And then that's going to be it for environment variables. So notice that, there is no real URL. So that's going to be the next step, where we're going to grab the actual endpoints themselves. So I don't think it's going to play nicely, but there's a very long GIF here. Effectively, what we're going to do is head over to the alchemy.com site. If you don't have an account, we suggest you do sign up for one. It'd be difficult to use without a URL. Awesome. So when you go to the website, you're going to go to the login. I'm lazy, so I use Google. Awesome. So once you go through, you're going to create an app. So your first one, we're going to name it Ethereum Mainnet or NFT API Explorer. Environment doesn't really matter right now. We're going to leave it as deployment, development, and then we have Ethereum and Mainnet. We're copying the same process twice more. So we're doing this for Polygon Mainnet. And make sure you switch the chain, in this case, from Ethereum to Polygon. Create the app, and then we're going to do the last one, which is Polygon Mumbai. And so you got to change both Polygon and the network. Awesome. And then sort of the last bit to complete the sign up, we're going to grab our keys. So if you click into the ETH NFT API Explorer app, you're on your top right-hand corner, you're going to have this button called View API Key. And so you're going to grab the whole URL, dump it into the .env file for all 3 of your new apps. And make sure you're putting them within quotations, just to make things run smoothly and not run into errors later on. Okay, so now I'm going to assume everyone has their env files sort of configured. Everyone's generally ready to go. We're going to explain one more concept before Kunal takes over. So this is going to be the actual querying of the requests. Okay, so we're going to take a look at what an NFT API request actually looks like. So we're going to be doing a GET request. So if you're bold, you're more than happy to try to copy the long URL. If not, hit the tiny URL or use your phones to get the QR code. If we look at this URL real quick, you're going to notice that it fairly familiar to the API keys that we just took. Instead of demo, you have your own sort of long string. That's your key. If you look at the method that we're using here, this is get NFTs. You'll notice that we're passing in the owner argument. So something like this might be used for, I want to get all the NFTs that 0xFAE owns. And so once you get all of those NFTs, you can determine, should I serve up particular content? Do they have the right gated token? Stuff like that. So that's, one use case. If you run this, you should get something like this. So in this case, we see that this person has a total of 5 NFTs. If you look carefully, it's across a bunch of different contract addresses. In there's a duplicate. So there's 2 NFTs of the same contract, but different IDs. So you get all of that information through get NFTs. The next thing, which is maybe more interesting to most people, is to get NFT metadata. So once again, more than happy you're more than welcome to go after the long URL. But let's just take a look at it real quick. So it's get NFT metadata. That's the actual call that we're making. We have a few arguments here that we're showing off. So it's contract address and then token ID and token type. So contract address refers to your NFT's contract. Token ID is the number. And then the token type is, is this 721? Is this 1155? What this allows you to do is just make a more targeted search. So you can get your results a little faster. You don't have to comb through all the results. I know lots of people tend to have, dozens and dozens of NFTs, and this can slow down performance. So this is one way to, number one, get to search and find NFTs that you're actually trying to get. And then number two, just improve performance altogether. And so with that, I'm going to hand it off to Kunal, who will be going into depth.
Along, have any questions or are stuck, definitely raise your hand and one of us can come along and help you guys keep up.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Kunal. First thing I want to say, I've recently been told that my speaking voice is very, very quiet. So if it sounds like I'm yelling, it's because I am. Get that out of the way. Hopefully I don't trail off. Shout out Noam Hurwitz. Let's go. All right. So we've sat here. We've talked about what NFTs are, what we want to build. We're going to go through a demo walkthrough that Isaac so very naturally set us up for. That's always the worst part. Hopefully you guys got through that. If not, we're going to come out. We're going to help you out. Do it in line. Just take your laptop, do it for you. It should be pretty quick. Here's where we hope the interesting part is. So what we're going to go through is the React Node.js tutorial that we've linked through that GitHub. We have a before and after. So if you're not feeling like doing a little coding, get your hands dirty, it's pretty minimal, hopefully. But we also have an after, which you can go ahead and fork and change and sort of make your own gallery. Who knows? As we mentioned before, we thought the gallery was a nice little use case view for this. A lot of people love seeing their own shit. Who knows? Maybe you run into Kim Kardashian outside. She sells you your NFTs. You make a gallery. Boom. Yeah, what's up? No question? Okay. Okay. That is a question for not me. Can anyone help this guy? No? He's trying to find a better internet. Yeah. It's a little slow for us too. But hopefully, okay. Hopefully we can help you out after. We'll see if there's stuff you struggle keep up with. It's not a ton of coding. Honestly, at the end we can come and help you do it in a minimal amount of time. It's mostly a walkthrough and explanation. So hopefully it sort of caters to the internet conditions here. Okay, great. So I'm going to start jumping into this. So we have an app. There's sort of 5 key components I'm going to walk through. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these slides. I'm going to jump into the app. I'm going to highlight the pieces of code that basically create sort of React components, how they interact, how they change state, and then really how they fetch data from the Alchemy API and then sort of display them in a nice, wonderful manner. So the first one we're going to be talking about is wallet integration. Wallet integration, everyone's got wallets. I got wallets, you got wallets. So what what we're going to do here in our React app is use the WAGMI NPM library to more easily sort of just like provide an easy connectable interface. So you can just go ahead, create your gallery app, connect your wallet, have that information in context and use it. And we'll see how we use that in just a sec. Sorry, I double clicked. All right. So after this first view, we're going to be able to see sort of this nice blank like Alchemy Blue page. You can see there's a connect button in the top right. There's so I use MetaMask in my hot wallet. We're also going to be showing how to support Wallet Connect. Those are just two of the various hot wallets that WAGMI uses. It's super easy. We'll go through that. But after we go through this first part, we're going to be able to just see this nice screen in our like a local server, and we'll be able to interact with it. The next part is going to be a profiles page. So after you have your wallet connected, like, what do you do with that? Well, I want to see my own profile. I want to see my address. I want to see what NFTs I own, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, we're going to be able to create another card that will show like that now that you're connected, show some information, display about like that wallet connect. And so that's going to look a little bit like this. So here you can see it's a little different. It's like there's a profile picture. There's a Bored Ape here, obviously. There's a wallet address here, which you've gotten through connecting through the WAGMI interface. There's a chain selector you can see, as Isaac mentioned before. There are 4 chains that we support right here: Ethereum mainnet, Ethereum Rinkeby, Polygon mainnet, and Polygon Mumbai. Those are the currently supported NFT API chains. We're currently expanding, and if you guys are looking for more chains, very, very happy to talk to you, see what you guys are interested in us building next. So let's see. The third part, so you can see here in the last picture, so it's kind of iterative. I'm going to go through this. You can see here, this is actually one of my hot wallets. And let me explain this. I don't have a Bored Ape. It's kind of just the thing we do in this like page where we refresh, we grab a random Bored Ape with our API and show it. If I had one or let alone multiple Bored Apes, I would be giving a different talk about how to make very good decisions. Instead, I'm going to give this talk about how to make this. And you can see there's 0 NFTs. I actually own some NFTs, believe it or not. And that's because the part of the code that the next iteration of this step is we're going to actually use the Alchemy API to grab information. And so you can see here, we're going to look at this fetch NFT data util, which is going to be basically just be a thin wrapper around sort of what Isaac was showing us earlier. Create like a little app, hit our API, get the data. And so after this, what we're going to see is a few things. We're going to see here on the left side of the screen, you can see now I have more than 0 NFTs. I have, in fact, this number might be outdated, actually. Since I took this screenshot, I have sold a few. Got to keep slinging. But on the right side, you can see this is a network tab, and this is actually the network call we make to the Alchemy API where we get metadata. And so after we do this part, and I'm just explaining this in steps, we're going to all see it like live, hopefully on your laptop, definitely on my laptop, definitely on your laptop later. But after we do this, we're going to see data in the network tab. We're going to see a number of NFTs. And you can see kind of, the coloring is a little not great, but there are some NFT, there's like these cards here. So there's like, you can see here, there are like 6 cards. These cards are where we're going to sort of house and display our NFT. So like it'll show pictures, attributes, sort of all the cool things you expect on like OpenSea or galleries or anything else.
Are you displaying the screen? Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Omar's a little confused. He gets like that. Oh, no. I got you. And so sorry, yeah. What Omar was confused about was we're not seeing the display here. That's because the next step is after we have the data. So we have this data on the right side. We have it sort of in context of the app. We're going to then put it into the cards and display it. And that's sort of going to be the next step here. So fill out these NFT cards, and this will actually be a little bit of an exercise to the user. So these are what the cards will look like. You have the image, you have, an Etherscan link on the top right. You have like sort of the description you grab. These are all on-chain pieces of data. None of it's sort of like heuristics we make or things like that are stored off-chain. These are on-chain or stored like on IPFS or Arweave or whatever, whatever sort of storage platforms the NFTs like sort of choose to use. And then the last thing we'll do is, so this whole sort of vertical is like, I connect my wallet to the chain. I see what my NFTs are, but people are kind of nosy. Like if you're on Instagram, you're not just looking at your own pictures, you're gonna look at other people's shit. So we're gonna have an explore page, which pretty much does the exact same thing. You're gonna be able to enter any wallet address, see what they have. So it's gonna look a little bit pretty simple. Oh shoot, that Sorry, I think I lost that picture, or it was copied incorrectly. Weird. Well, you'll see it live when we do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to jump back and forth between my coding environment, my ID, and sort of do it live. I'm going to talk through a little bit pieces of this code in this directory that you guys just cloned, and hopefully it'll make sense to you. And like after this, the hope is, okay, I know how these pieces fit together. I know how I want to change it to make it way better. It should be like pretty simple. The Alchemy API is already integrated. That's the hope, and hopefully we can get you there. So I'm going to go ahead and leave slideshow, which is kind of a scary place. All right. And I'm going to open up my ID. All right, can everyone see that? All right, so this is sort of a, let me just make sure this is true. Some good stuff. All right, yeah. So as you can see, basically this is a fresh installation, a fresh clone of the repo. The only thing I've done is basically do sort of the baseline steps that Isaac walked you through. So hopefully you can get there. If not, we'll help you after. Again, going to be super chill. But the first thing we're going to talk about is the wallet integration. And so a little bit of background. I don't want this to be like a React Node.js talk, but generally React is a framework we're using here. A lot of times, basically, it works. I'm going to very much butcher this, so any like Node.js gods don't come up and like yell at me later. But basically, we have an entry point. The DOM, the document object model, sort of renders it from like a top level point. You have a bunch of components that like interact with each other. I've kind of gone through an overview of the components before. So the first thing we're going to look at is app, and like sort of canonically app, like capital A, PPP, is like the first entry point for how these work. So you can see here in the index.as, this is where this app is defined, and we're going to go ahead and pop into here. All right, so here, the first thing we want to talk about, this is where we first instantiate our WAGMI library. So WAGMI is, as mentioned before, a really cool tool that you can use to integrate with Hot Wallet browser extensions. I can take you briefly through the documentation. If my computer doesn't shit itself, looks like he's fine. All right, sweet. So as you can see here, basically, this is like straight from the documents. What you do, you have like a top level app. You can sort of, you can instantiate what we call an injected connector. That's a little bit lower in the docs, but I'll show you in the code itself. But basically, the whole point of WAGMI is you create an app, you create what's called a provider component, and the provider component is sort of this guy, like the connect button, and this portion right here. And so once you wrap that in it, you can instantiate it upon like app instantiation, and then you can sort of use this in any other component by going ahead and using a React hook called use state, or use account rather. So you'll see us use this in various points, but like after you connect it, we go to different like cards. We can always pull that data, like the information being your wallet address that you connected with. So basically what we're going to do is just uncomment this code here from line 7 to, sorry, my computer is slowing down a little bit. Come on, you got it. Go. All right, still catching up. All right, nope. Luckily, we don't have to do a lot of this coding. It's mostly commenting out. So I'm going to uncomment this code. And actually, sorry, real quick before I do that, I wanted to show you like that it's doing what I'm saying it's doing. So I did an npm start here. I'm running the server. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is go ahead and look at my local React app. You can see it up here. Once the internet catches up, go. Okay, so you can see this is a blank screen. So this is before I uncommented that injection point. So after I uncommented, you're going to see basically what I was just showing you in the slides. I'm going to go ahead and do this. All right, and so I'm going to save it. We've configured React to just hot reload. So once I hit save, this is going to compile and reload the page. We're going to just wait for it for like 5 seconds. All right, sweet, maybe 10. Okay, sorry, I think it's good. Sweet, so now when we reload our React app page, let's see, we should be able to see. Oh, sorry, it's Still reloading. Let's see. Sorry. Hopefully, usually this is a pretty quick operation, but yeah, it's all good. Happens. Okay. Let me try one more time. Sorry, bear with me as I try to navigate this internet for a second. All right, I guess while we wait here, does anyone have any questions, or is anyone struggling with any portion up to this? I imagine not, because we haven't really done much, but just wanted to give you a chance to talk. Nope. All right, I guess we'll just wait. Go. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Was I like cutting in and out?
No, honestly, your speaking volumes are really good.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm proud of nowadays. It is.
With internet,
Yeah.
you want a hotspot maybe?
Maybe. Do you have a hotspot?
Yeah.
Oh, here, it might work. It might have just worked. Starting development server. Go. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Oh, that was way louder. All right. Yeah, sorry. Server finally is built. You can see here, this is my local host 3000. Hopefully, in the future iterations, it'll build a little bit faster. If not, in the interim, I will tell you some jokes to entertain you. But otherwise, hopefully, we can continue. Okay. So what we've done is we've created this injected connector. This is from the WAGMI library, and basically, as talked about before, we've passed in this connector object into the provider, and basically that's the only interaction we needed with WAGMI to get this nice interface. So now, what we can do is, you can see actually upon connecting, it actually stores some state. It's connected to my hot wallet, but if I hit disconnect, you can see that it sees that MetaMask is like the only hot wallet available as an extension in this browser. I can hit MetaMask, and it will connect me. Again, not my Bored Ape. You'll see some of my stuff in a little bit. All right, cool. Moving on. Back to this slideshow. Okay, actually, the slideshow also takes a second to load, so I might just not put it in slideshow mode. RIP. Okay. Wallet integration. So if you remember, the next thing we're going to do, so we just saw in my for my local server, we saw this page with my profile. I'm going to just show you that code in a little bit and show you what it does. But as you saw before, we basically don't have an NFT. We don't have any NFT data. This is not the right screen. Look at all my Sentry errors. All right. So as you saw before, I have no NFTs. Also, to sort of further drive the point home, what's happening here is we're not calling Alchemy's API, and that's not failing. I'm just going to open up the developer tools tab and show you that there's no network calls being made to Alchemy. And then I'll show you after we move on to the next portion that there are calls being made just to validate that what's actually happening. If we're getting data from the network, we're using it. So you can see here, I'll do a refresh. Okay, so yeah, I did a refresh, and you can see here, still going. Okay, so there's these network calls that are being made down here. We'd expect some calls to be being made to Alchemy where we get the data, namely the get NFTs call that Omar and Isaac talked about before, and then the get NFT metadata call to get all the metadata for all the NFTs that I own. Clearly isn't happening. And so let's dive in to see why it's happening and how we can fix it. So, you can see here from the top level app, we also have this other component called nav. It's navigation. It's pretty straightforward. Here's my computer. So hopping into here, there's a lot of sort of like stylized stuff that we don't need to worry about. Really, we care about sort of the data portion of this. And so what is happening here is basically, you can see there's a the connection. It's linking to this. Component called my profile. And where does my profile live? My profile is a route we established down here. You can see there's an explore path up here we'll talk about later. But basically, in my profile, this is the component. Let's talk about this for just a bit. So basically, this is the entry point to the page we just saw. It tries to fetch all the NFTs I own. It tries to then set the state of what they own. It tries to get the metadata. Basically do the basic gallery view. So just as like a quick React refresher, or maybe a new thing, it's not super important, but React is a Node.js framework that uses these things called hooks very nicely. It's like sort of a new functional way to program versus like sort of the old JS like idiomatic way. And so basically, what does that mean? That means that in any component I mentioned before, we can call these hooks and get the state of certain things. So remember I talked about the WAGMI library from the documentation. Basically, this is a React hook where I can grab the account that I logged into before. So I'm grabbing the account data from this, so it'll get my wallet address, my Ethereum wallet address. I'm on Ethereum now. We're doing the whole demo on Ethereum. And then you can also see what's happening here. Basically, these are two like sort of common React hooks called state. They're stateful in that basically you can grab the state of whatever the named hooks are, and you get this really nice callback function. So these two callback functions, set NFTs, set blockchain, and you can pass them into other components. And these components can call that to change the state of what this sees. So basically like sort of the high level framework of what's happening here is there's three React hooks. There's this use state for Ethereum, use state for NFTs, and there's a use effect. And so this is where our NFT fetch data lives. So this function is where we're actually going to see us calling the Alchemy NFT API. And you can see what we're passing in here. We're passing in the account data, so the address of like our own Ethereum wallet. We're passing the set NFTs callback. So what's going to happen here, you'll see in a second, is we're going to go make the Alchemy API call. We're going to get data, and then we're going to set the list of NFTs that I own using this callback function so that this functional component, my profile, knows what it is. And then it can like re-render and see like, okay, now I have like 10 NFTs, not 0. And then the chain is just like a selector based on what chain you are. And so now what's happening is if we hop into this fetch NFTs function, you can see basically all this code is commented out. It's not actually doing anything. So what I'll do is I'll explain what it's doing, uncomment it, reload the server, and basically show you that now we're getting NFT data. So I'm going to uncomment this guy. Actually, I'll just start reloading him now because I know that takes forever and start talking about this. All right, so basically what's happening here is we're calling the two endpoints that we've been talking about this whole time. Get address NFTs. So we provide an endpoint. This endpoint is basically just a configured endpoint to what chain we have, because the way our API works is each chain has a different endpoint. So Polygon, Ethereum, et cetera, have a different endpoint. So we have to pass in the configured endpoint there. We're passing in the owner address, which we've gotten from our WAGMI library. We're passing in an optional contract address. So you can read about this later in our docs, but there are certain like you can pass in an owner address and then a contract address to say like, hey, give me all the NFTs this guy owns that are also Bored Apes, just because sometimes people like want that sort of contextualized information. In this case, we're not really doing that. We're like, this will be empty, so it's not going to be an extra filter. And then you can see what's happening here. We're grabbing this data, we're checking all the owned NFTs, and we're making a separate NFT metadata call per owned NFT. And you'll see that play out in just a sec. I think it's reloaded, so hopefully I can show you this working. All right, so I'm going to reload this guy. All right, great, see. So you can see in this network tab that I was showing you earlier, we made one get NFT owner call, and it has like, it's parameterized with my address, 0xFAE. Also, this is my address. Don't dox me. If you have cool NFTs, feel free to airdrop them. I don't know, but yeah. So you can see there's a bunch of owned NFTs. I mean, not a bunch. I'm not a baller, but like I have like 6 NFTs here, and like they're returned in a list, similar to the way like the format Isaac talked about. So instead of like doing in curl, we're doing it here in Node.js. And then you can see we make one get NFT metadata call per each of these NFTs. And then here, here's like the real stuff, like the image source, sort of the title, the description, like, you know, like breakers have the honor of serving humanity, like all that stuff. And so that's what's happening here. And you can see how our page sort of reacts to that. Now it says, oh, I own 6 NFTs. And I actually have, as I mentioned before in the slide deck, there were 6 cards. So now it knows that there are 6 NFTs. So if we pop back over to the my card, we'll see like it recognizes that, and it's creating 6 different NFT cards. And what it wants to do is display them. And we're going to talk about them in a bit. And this is actually going to be a small exercise left to you guys to try out. And then we'll obviously finish it at the end to show like how to get that running. But you see here, basically what's happening is we have this other component that we talked about in the presentation called NFT cards. So here, this is the component we pass in. We pass in these NFT values. So like the ID, the contract address, the value, the image, all the stuff that's basically being returned in those network calls that we were just talking about. And so like, you know, theoretically they should be like filled out. They're not. So actually now what we would like to do, and I don't know if people have been able to follow along doing this. I know the internet is sort of a big issue, but we wanted to give you a couple minutes to check out the code base and leave it as an exercise for you to see how we actually, now that we have the NFT data, how to just get them to display in this NFT cards. And basically the only thing you have to do is edit this file, source components, NFT card, JSX. You'll notice it's kind of, so it's going to be kind of similar to the manner of where we've been like sort of uncommenting code, but like it's sort of like in context, you can kind of see what it does. There is one small code change that is kind of important that also like played in there, but we want to like give a little bit of time now for you guys to try that out. Well, actually, first of all, I want to see, has anyone been able to follow along on their own laptop so far? Sweet, you guys have been able to, and has it been like sort of, has it been like, have you been able to like get the same sort of behavior locally? Sweet, all right, that's sick. All right, that sounds like enough people that I want to wait for you guys to try it yourself. Cool, yeah, we're gonna give like, I don't know, 4:13. We have some time, maybe like 3 to 5 minutes. What do you think, Albert? Yeah. We're gonna give you some time to like just play around with that, try to like, there's a few pieces of code you need to write, very small, a few things you might need to uncomment to get them to display. So again, these are the display cards. The goal, if I can get my presentation to open, is going to be a full-fledged, this guy. Okay, Google Slides. All right, yeah. This is sort of like these are mine, so this is how it'll look, but like should display your own NFTs and their metadata if you were able to connect with a wallet. If you don't have any NFTs, 1, smart decision. 2, we're gonna go on and do an explore page so we can like show like, so hopefully you can like find like you can put in any address, your friends, like, you know, popular people's, and we can like have that show up and demonstrate on your local machine as well. But yeah, for now, let's give it 5 minutes. It's 4:14. Let's start up again at 4:20. Hopefully, also at this time, if anyone's having issues like still with setup, we can go and help them. Yeah, just talk to us. Pretty easy to see. We have these things. Yeah.
So just raise your hand, I guess, if you want to, you know, get caught up, or if you have a blocker. Yeah, we'll come to you. And then yeah, if Alchemy people, we can, you know, walk around and help people. We'll reconvene in 5 minutes to finish the rest of the presentation.
Right. We don't use it anyway. We don't have any secrets. Why? Why is it like that? Yeah, he actually mentioned it. Hello? All right, we're gonna round this one out. We're going to make some changes to the NFT card page, have them show up here. I'll tell you a little story about my 6 NFTs, and then we're gonna finish off with the Explorer. Hopefully this will take about another 10 minutes, and then we can spend the rest of the time mingling and just like answering the rest of your questions and such. All right, so let's get to it. All right. Last we left off, I mentioned there are some things we needed to change in this card file now that we had all the data. So let's just take a look at a few things. I don't know what kind of ID you guys use, but this tells me like, oh, none of these like sort of inputs are actually being used, just the ID. So the first thing, I'll just start like showing the like what we're gonna do step by step. So you'll notice like there's a bunch of commented things. Like for example here, the ID, which is in this case our wallet address ID. We're showing sort of the first 4 characters and slicing like the last 4 characters to show it like in a nice manner. So if I uncomment this guy and save and rerun, which will take more than 20 seconds probably, we'll see some stuff show up. Let's see, where is it? React app. Okay, actually, I'm going to do them all in bulk just because it will take a while to reload. You can see a few other places here. What we're doing is we're passing in the address into Etherscan, and we're providing a nice little link so we can link into Etherscan to see the exact token that you own. So you can just verify that, oh, this is a real token. This belongs to this contract ID or whatnot. We also have the description. This is stuff we fetched from the metadata in our fetch NFTs. We're going to uncomment this guy on line 25. Let's see. And you can see here the attributes. So NFTs have like sort of a list of attributes. You can kind of see what's happening here is basically we have an attributes list, and we're returning sort of like a new div and like a new like spanner like new row for each of these attributes. So if I uncomment this, I know a few of you had some trouble uncommenting this. It's yeah, like based on what sort of ID you use, it's kind of annoying. Sorry, I made it that way. That's totally my fault. But you can use the completed product at the end, so you don't have to worry about like this stuff. So let's see, we're reloading. All right, so you can see reloaded. And you can see a few things have showed up now, right? So now we have sort of the address from our wallet in the top left card. We have the Etherscan link I mentioned, and I'll click it sort of fearfully because this might explode. go. Well, you can see it's basically linking to the right thing. It's just, yeah, it's just like a forward and it has the right thing. And if you let that load, all right, cool, it's loading. So you can see, I click this, it's loading a Dust Breakers. This is one of my NFTs. He looks pretty cool. I'll show you his image in a second once we finish rounding out this code snippet. All right, back to here. So you can see we've outlined the attributes, but you can see like a certain number, but they're not actually displayed. That's because there are two things that we have left. You can obviously see there's no image. So like the image that we sourced from sort of the metadata from which we get actually off chain, like via IPFS or Arweave or whatever, it's not showing up here. And you can still see that if we go back to our function, image and title are both being unused. And so basically, I left this as an exercise, but you can see here the source image. This tag is what like classifies the image. So you can see this is undefined. All you got to do is pop in the image there. And so we save this. We expect it to look a lot better because, you know, pictures, 1,000 words, all that. Actually, while I do that, the last thing is I mentioned before the attributes. You can see that they're not filled, and so that happens in attributes. Sorry, this attributes code snippet, and you can see what's happening here. Basically, these two are empty, and what basically like we're creating this attributes map, which is a list, each one of which is its own attribute. We left this comment up here. I know it's a little confusing because it looked like you might want to uncomment that, but basically each one of these attributes has a trait type or a value. These are things that are taken directly from off chain. This is something like how they decided to like quantify that. So what you want to do here is passing the attribute trait type here and the attribute value here. And so this just reloaded with the image. So let's just take a look at that, and sweet. So now you can see on my profile, you can see three of my NFTs here. These top left two are Dust Breakers. They're pretty cool. This top left one kind of has a similar haircut that I had in like 7th grade, which is why I got it. The middle one, I kind of just YOLO'd. Albert told me always buy 2 NFTs, so this is my second one. This top right one is a, what is this guy? Oh, it's an incognito. Noah made me buy it. He also made me change my Twitter profile picture. Still holding, still waiting on that one, Noah. And you can see I got another incognito. Thanks, Gnome. A chain runner. This chain runner, I'll have you know, I bought at the absolute top of the chain runner market. So again, giving this talk and not the other one. This actually is something to note that I would like to. So this is a default image that we have in our app, and so this kind of is important to note. Metadata is typically stored off chain, and it oftentimes breaks a lot of conventions. And so I think this is an NFT that was just recently airdropped, but basically there's still a lot of like while our NFT metadata API covers like a good majority of edge cases, especially everything that completely implements ERC 721s and 1155s, there's a bunch that don't. And so like good contracts, like as a developer, if you're developing NFTs, just note that it's much easier for people like us, Alchemy, people like OpenSea who like create things, like it's much easier for us to display, like get your data out if you adhere to these standards. So we're still scraping like more and more like small things. Omar gave like a great example of like a bunch of like early days projects that we like people have had to like sort of special case. But the more and more you like adhere to standards, like it's kind of just like a little like common sense, right? Like if like would I trust LeBron James to save my life by dunking? Probably, but like I would obviously like do guardrails, right? Like I wouldn't if I could, I would just do this is kind of my point. I think this analogy is very strong. So if you think we are the analogy of the LeBron James of blockchains, still like, code defensively, make sure that like, you're not gonna be like, I'm gonna make whatever, Alchemy will deal with it. We will, but it'll be much faster if you adhere to standards. Okay, all right, sorry for that little rant. I have a friend named Ben who loses a lot of sleep over this, so I wanted to shout him out. And so, okay, the last portion of this is just gonna be, like I mentioned before, we're gonna do an attribute. Trait type here. Sorry, don't have autocomplete because it's not well defined. So if I do this and hit this, and reload, we should have basically our whole card view, what we were trying to get from the beginning. Let's see, while it compiles. And okay, so while it compiles, again, I'm going to try to parallelize this a little bit. What we saw before was, so now this, obviously, we've done the whole vertical stack of like connecting your wallet, showing your, getting NFT data, fetching it and showing it. But we also want to be able to like explore. So this we can, in this demo, is quite simple. We're going to go back to this navigation bar. You noted earlier in this talk, basically, I had this profile, I had this path that went to my profile. This Explorer is another card that I won't even go show it. I won't even show you. It basically does the same thing. It just like, it does everything the same. It just like takes input instead of like connecting my wallet, my connect, and like a little bit more styling. So I'm going to resave that, get it to reload, and show you both these things at once. And then that will sort of be the end of this talk. Actually, Albert has a few more things to say after. Great. So I reloaded this guy. You can now see my NFT. He's a locust rider. I assume that's good. He's got face paint, thin eyebrows, kind of weird, big smile, purple. I don't understand that, but whatever. So yeah, you can see this is my gallery, it's my NFT card, and I have 6 NFTs. And now I can also explore. I can explore anything, and this will basically do the same stack, call the NFTs, display the same cards. Just instead, I can insert a wallet address, and I think I have one. Albert sent me. Where is Albert? Yo, Albert, what is the dead beef address again? All right, I guess I'm gonna open my texts.
All right, I'll read it to you.
Read it to me.
It's a lot of zeros.
That's fine.
All right, 0x
0. All right, this is not going to work. I should have copied this. All right, well, let me stop sharing my screen as I open my text to Albert, and then I'll reshare. Fuck. All right, whatever. It's not. We don't talk about stuff. It's fine. There it is, my guy.
Nice.
Copy. Still sharing? Sweet. All right. So now we can go ahead and enter dead beef. It's on Ethereum. We'll see some of his NFTs. Hit search, and you can see his collection. These are. What are these? Do you know what these are? I think he told me. Okay. Well, he has these nice little rocket ship thingies. He's got these Numis, which I've heard are pretty cool. These like pretty nice. They like have this nice 3D rendering effect. ETC. Yeah, it's got a bunch of these, but yeah, that is all I had for you guys. I know Albert had a few more things to talk about, so I'll hop back into this presentation. But yep, thanks for following along with me, guys. I know that was a bit of a struggle with the internet, but hopefully you learned something, and hopefully you can take either the beginning of this repo or the end. We'll provide a link for the end, like when it's done, and you can like fork it, make your own projects for BUIDLWeek, what have you, and go ahead and use the NFT API. Sweet. Here?
Yep.
All right.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just here to wrap everything up. Thank you so much, Kunal. Awesome. Cool. Just wanted to give a big thanks to everybody here for participating, learning about the NFT API and Alchemy. So here, as I promised, these are the NFTs that we want to give out. So on the left here, I just want to do a quick intro. This is the Chibi Shinobi's collection. It's 888 pieces. I actually built it with Catherine, who's sitting on the side over there. And then, oh, in the back, wave your hand. Yep, that's her. And then Sophie over here, if you wave your hand, she's helping me launch it. We had originally launched on Solana, and we're bridging it over to Ethereum. So if you have questions about, multi-chain NFTs, that kind of stuff, feel free to ask me about that. But yeah, basically, I suck at marketing, so I'm just like, I'll just give it out for free. Like, I made it. I want people to use it. So yeah, that's going to be one of the things we're giving out. The one on the right, these are called Kudos. And these are a new thing where they're called soulbound tokens. They're meant to be non-transferable. And so they're actually useful for kind of building up your reputation on chain. So, people can't like buy and sell NFTs or buy and sell these the way they can buy and sell NFTs. So it's a pretty interesting thing. And we are demoing that. Catherine is also the lead of the company that's building this service. So pretty interesting. So basically, in order for you to claim it, tweet at Alchemy Platform on Twitter with a picture of your NFT API app. If you're comfortable, a selfie is always really fun too. You can grab one of us if you want to get the cape in there. And then we'll basically DM you the instructions to claim your Kudos token. That way we're not asking for your wallet addresses publicly. And then, yeah, if you lucky attendees will also get the Chubisha Movies NFT airdropped. Cool. And then the last thing is we have a bunch of amazing stickers as well as coupon codes for our growth tier account. You do 3 months of growth tier if you want to build on Alchemy. This is a $100 value to everybody who attended here. And then also if you follow along with our NFT API workshop, we also have some t-shirts that we want to give away. So just show us your app and then we'll hand over a t-shirt. So last thing is we are hiring massively across all departments. So, technical, non-technical, we need a lot of help to kind of build out this vision of bringing blockchain to 1 billion people. So feel free to ask us about that as well. And yeah, we'll be sticking around through 5 p.m. I don't think there's another group after, so we'll hang out as long as people want to chat. And yeah, thank you so much for attending. Oh, last thing. I'm just going to leave this up, but if you guys want to connect with us and see our docs, our Discord, we're pretty active there helping people out who are building. And then our Twitter, that's our information. Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, what's your sleep for like? Yeah.